Purple is an odd color to work with as an artist because it does have a decent range, but the associations with purple sometimes make it a little bit difficult to work with because it is the most unnatural color. So if you're often painting landscapes, there are very specific moments where you can use purple, but if you use it just whenever you want, you can make something look very stylized or very unnatural if you don't mean it to. In creating a piece dedicated entirely to purple, I had to really think about the associations with purple, and I found that so much of purple is a chaotic structure. It's something that exists, it makes sense, it functions, but it really requires you to tweak it and adjust it and play with it and make sure that it feels kind of all over the place, but it works. And purple by itself is a color that sometimes it works perfectly great on top of itself and other times it doesn't. And that is true for a lot of colors, but with purple specifically, the balance doesn't feel as easy as it does with others. Sometimes it's such a simple change, like slightly adjusting a hue or the saturation or the value. But with purple, when you start playing with lavenders and deep purples and you start leaning maybe more into the indigos, there's really simple changes that you can make where you might have a slightly different hue and you might have a slightly different saturation or value even. And yet when you put it on top of another one, it still kind of blends in. You have to be very careful with how you work with purple, but it was incredibly fun, even though throughout this entire time that I'm making this piece that you see here, for most of it, I thought it was going to end in disaster. I thought it wasn't going to look good. And then suddenly, when I figured it out, turns out, I think it's one of my favorites.